It's Good Friday, which always makes me laugh because it definitely wasn't good for a certain someone tacked to a cross. It is a Dose of Buckley live on April 10th, 2020. It is the Easter weekend, but do holidays even matter anymore in this current whatever the hell we're going through? St. Patrick's Day happened, about a month ago or so, and no one celebrated that here. We were pretty much told to stay home. All bars were closed by March 17th here for sure. So, we've already been here for about a month, something like that. And I don't know. I don't even know what the next holiday is, but realistically, it doesn't matter. You're not supposed to go see your family. So if you're, currently on lockdown away from your family and you wanted to go celebrate something with them, well, that's probably not going to happen. But anyway, we are going to spend the rest of the show not talking about, the old COVID. We're going to talk about a couple other things today. So thanks for joining us. And as always, this is a call-in show. So if you want to talk to us, participate in the show, join the Discord. There's the URL right there. As I warn you guys every week, if you're too stupid to type in a URL into a browser, I don't want to talk to you anyway. So don't need to post a link somewhere to this. If you just can't figure it out, there it is. But it's discord.gg/capital KHZ or Z if you prefer. B, the number 4, capital M, small b. All you got to do is type that into a browser. I'm also going to have it up when we actually get to the topic, and we'll talk about that as well very shortly before I get to the first part where I fuck around. It's like the desk piece on a more professional show before we get to the main event of the evening. So, how to be a caller? Well, you got to join the Discord. We already talked about that. Number 2, make sure your mic works. Now, what I've done for you guys this time around, which is riveting, by the way, for those of you listening later on Spotify or just not watching this at all. But as I describe this to you, there's now a general voice chat in Discord. It's called General Voice Chat. Can't miss it. You can go in there, make sure that your microphone actually works. Talk to someone else. Go in there. Just be like, hey, is my mic working? Yeah. Is mine? Yeah. Perfect. Done. Your mic works. Now you can hop into the lobby, join the lobby channel. I've kind of skipped a step here, but it doesn't matter. And you can let me know, number 3 there, type pick me or something like that. Let me know your opinion on the topic. And then, hey, I might be interested in talking to you, and we'll see if we can get you on the show. And then if I want to talk to you, I will move you to the Buckley chat to become a caller. So the way that works is you don't call me, I call you. Every week, I always have someone try and call me. Everything's muted, so I can't tell if someone's calling me or anything like that. But every week, I always get someone later on the show, or after the show's done, I check it, and I'm like, what the hell is this? And it's like, this person tried to call you. This person tried to call you. I'm like, I'm not going to answer that, okay? Not interested. So, I'm going to control the flow of the show. Probably just easiest that way, right? So that's how you do it. We'll go into a little bit more detail in that in just a little bit. And of course, I do want to thank everyone who's made this possible, all of my Patreon subscribers. You can support me at patreon.com/doseofbuckley. We'll talk about some of them in a little bit here as well. But first, perhaps some of you are aware of a certain fella by the name of Anthony Fantano. He runs a YouTube channel called The Needle Drop, and of course, I don't need to give him any more publicity. He certainly has all the publicity, way more than I have, but he's been featured on Rolling Stone or Billboard or things like that, and I've been featured in, some sort of London magazine. So anyway, I have nothing against Anthony Fantano. He is a serious music critic, for those of you who aren't aware. I have some understanding that he may do some jokes or something like that. I've not really watched a lot of his stuff. Sometimes he gives things a rating of not good, right? So I guess that's kind of funny. So anyway, I have nothing against him, but this is more about his audience, right? So Anthony Fantano shared this post on his Twitter with absolutely no context, which of course got his audience all frothy, and we'll get to them in a second. But he says no words, and he was sharing these various brackets of music. These are just various bands. For those of you who can't actually see this, who are just listening, it's a bracket. It's a 64 musician or band bracket. You know, so radio stations do this all the time. This image in particular is part of 1021 The Edge's March Madness bracket. So again, this is a thing that radio stations do all the time because it's easy to get audience interaction, and it translates somewhat well to radio. You've got your audience, or whoever you've collected on social media that doesn't even still listen to your station, vote on the bands each day, and then you hope that they'll either tune in or they'll at least come back to your social media pages to find out who won and then vote on those winners and continue on this little bracket thing. It's cheaper and easier than doing a contest, and it gets somewhat similar results. So they don't have to give away anything for this to work. So we'll move on to, so you can kind of see this for those of you watching this on YouTube, but I've zoomed it in a little bit more, and you can see how this goes. I'm not going to go through the whole thing, but you could see at the start of it, they've got Billie Eilish versus Nirvana, and then Nirvana wins that bracket. You got Green Day and Oasis. Green Day takes that one first. You got Monsters and Men, and 21 Pilots of Monsters and Men takes that one. You got Glorious Sons and the Black Keys. I think I might already fuck this up, or did the black? I don't know. It's a huge fucking mess, is what this is. Someone who does graphic design is looking at this and just like, what the fuck? What have they done here? But you could see all these different matchups, and you can see how they move up. And the contention with this, of course, is this right there in the middle. The winner of this is July Talk. Now, again, I have to explain this to you. It's part of 1021 The Edge. 1021 The Edge is a Toronto radio station, or Toronto, if you prefer, Toronto. I'm apparently I'm not supposed to say Toronto. Everyone gets pissed off when I go, oh, it's Toronto, because that's how it's spelled, and that is how you're supposed to say it. But locals don't say it that way. So the idea is that if you're from Ontario, you say Toronto, right? In the same way that you're not supposed to say Detroit, right? It's not Detroit, it's Detroit. Or Calgary. It's not Calgary, it's Calgary. I don't know if that didn't really make any sense, but whatever. So you get all this bracket, and you can see all sorts of various upsets or things that people would be upset by. So let's go through some of those things that people were upset by. So I've, of course, blurred out the names. I think I've blurred out all the names, right? But you've got this one. No, Tame Impala sucks, but Arcade Fire making it as far as they did is both awesome, but also horrible, because this bracket is nauseating. How do they even seed this? Well, I can show you how they seeded it to a certain degree. So they've tried to do it based on some sort of 16, sort of like the way that March Madness is set up for our actual sports fans. As you know, they've got it set up by their divisions. And then the winners of those divisions continue on and play the winners of other divisions, and so on and so forth, right? So you can kind of see in, again, this graphical mess, you've got 1021 The Edge is in the top left corner there. And then you've got some bands that the Edge presumably plays. And then you've got CFNY FM 1021. I guess this is a New York radio station or something like that I have no idea. I didn't really put a whole lot of effort into this, but these are clearly all older bands. You've got a lot of new wave and stuff like that in here. You've got the Ramones, the Clash, the Smiths, Rush, right? So older bands, either classic rock, punk, or some new wave in there. You've got also the Tea Party, 90s Canadian band, REM, New Order, who obviously made it pretty far. Down in the bottom left corner, you've got Edge Fest, and these look to be to a certain degree all older bands, or I guess these are bands that have played Edge Fest at some point, maybe, because you've got Ex Ambassadors and you've got July Talk, Death from Above, relatively newer bands, and then you've got Rise Against. They're some whatever, but then you got like Linkin Park, I don't know, Stone Temple Pilots, a lot of 90s and early 2000s. Blink 182 is in there, and then over here you've got mostly Canadian indie bands, right? So you've got Arcade Fire, Metric, you've got the Arkells, they're an Ontario band, Mother Mother, Billy Talent from Windsor, Our Lady Peace is over here. You've got Big Wreck, the Sam Roberts band, so on and so forth. You've got all of these different artists. And as you can imagine, this is, again, a Canadian radio station. So who do you think is probably going to win this vote-in tournament? But probably a Canadian band, right? But you've got these other ones. This needs to be deleted from the internet. Or, like, there's so much wrong with this bracket, I lose years off my life when I look at it again. Oh, so when I look at again. Like, the hyperbole is just fucking ridiculous. And then you've got this, of course, Rush losing to Joy Division, and RHCP, the Red Hot Chili Peppers, losing to Coldplay are crimes against humanity. And this is the worst thing I've ever seen. I mean, we are in the middle of a pandemic with thousands dying, but this is the worst thing they've ever seen, is some bands they don't like beating bands that they do like. The more I look, the more I want to die, which you might get your chance sooner than later with what's going on right now. I said I wasn't going to mention that again, but I did mention it again. And finally, of course, this is the biggest crime of them all. You got Pearl Jam beating Radiohead, which I'm going to fan the flames on this one, but I can't stand Radiohead. Never liked Radiohead in my life. And so Pearl Jam, I grew up in the 90s, and so Pearl Jam would have been a band that I would have listened to and enjoyed to a certain degree. I'm not a huge fan of Eddie Vedder's singing voice when he tries to sing more, we'll say, soulful tunes or things like that. But, you know, who doesn't enjoy Even Flow as a rock fan, right? Of course, Even Flow, great song, versus if you're going to compare, say, Even Flow to Radiohead's Creep, when we're talking about songs that would play on the radio by either of these two bands, I gotta tell you, but Even Flow beats fucking Creep every day of the week, in my opinion. So that's just my opinion on that one there. But as I said, when this person's like, oh, well, how do they even seed this? Or like, so much wrong with this. It's all voted on by people. This isn't exactly a scientific study of who is truly the best bands. Again, I'll show this to you again. There's Pearl Jam beating Radiohead, and then going on to face Vampire Weekend, and Vampire Weekend beats them. They go on to face Weezer. Weezer beats them. Weezer faces off against the Glorious Sons, and Weezer beats them, so on and so forth, until we get the final of July Talk and New Order, with July Talk winning. If you don't know who July Talk is, and a lot of the people in his audience didn't know who July Talk was, which is always funny because it's one of those like, oh yeah, fucker, I'm a real music fan. I know all, like, you know, indie bands and all this other bullshit. And then they don't know who the fuck July Talk is, because I guess they only know a few handful of American bands or things like that. July Talk is an interesting band. I'm never sure if I enjoy their work or not, but the band itself consists of a male voice that I guess it's a man and a woman who sing, and it's a husband and wife, I believe. And the male voice is very, very deep and grating. It sounds kind of like someone who's smoked and drank whiskey for their entire life up to that point, like since they were 3 years old, and their voice is just completely fucking gone, and it kind of sounds like this, you know. And then the girl voice is very, very, like, I can only describe it as almost like pixie-like is how I would describe it. It's very high-pitched, very almost childish in a lot of ways, and they go back and forth when they sing, and it's a very interesting sort of difference between the two, and I don't know if I like it or not, but either way, you know, it works for them, I guess. But this was how the voting broke down, so you can just see kind of how this ends up working, right? You got your Elite 8 results. You got Weezer with 63%, and then you got the Glorious Sons at 37%, so obviously a bunch of Weezer fans get in there, right? July Talk, 68%. This is the I guess, the narrowest margin for them against Cake. You know, the guys, the Distance and Short Skirt Long Jacket from, I believe, the 90s, maybe early 2000s. New Order, right? New wave band from the 80s and such, right? Versus Joy Division. Indie darlings, if you ask me. A lot of people love Joy Division, but they got totally decimated there by New Order. I know that's not the right word. You know, people will be like, oh, it's not how you use the word decimated. Shut the fuck up. Then you got, and I'm going to like make fun of the use of a word later on here, but whatever. Mother, 71% versus Arcade Fire at 29%, right? So these are just blowouts the whole way around. Then you got July Talk in the final four, 86%, beating Weezer by 14%. So you got Weezer just taking it in that first round, 63%. And then July Talk totally ices them. New Order at 82% to Mother's 18%. And then we get to the final, and the final is just completely all July Talk. So it's almost like every New Order fan just completely fucked off on the 30th. I don't know if someone just didn't tell them that the voting was still open. Maybe they thought they'd already won the whole thing. But either way, it's that's what's going on there. But if you're interested in music in general, then you might want to check out some of these bands, especially if you're not overly familiar with Canadian music, because there's a few interesting bands that some of you may like, depending on the type of music that you do enjoy. So I kind of mentioned some of that in my Rock's Not Dead, It's Just Hiding video. I mentioned, I believe, Our Lady Peace, or was it the Tea Party? I don't even remember now. I think it was the Tea Party, actually, not Our Lady Peace. Two very different bands. And but, you know, a lot of either some harder rock in here, some softer rock in here, a lot of different sort of trajectories, career trajectories in here. So the Arkells kind of started out as one type of thing, moved on to more of a pop sound, really. I mean, they were already kind of poppy, but they got even poppier. Over on the other side of the bracket, you get the Glorious Sons, who I believe had a Billboard #1 on the rock charts not that long ago. And so they've kind of gotten some foothold in the States, but either way, some stuff there. But this is just absolute insanity, and I get it, whatever. Music fans, passionate bunch, right? They love to just argue about music as if their taste is actually relevant to anything, and or that theirs is, this is the fucking, you know, this is how it is, right? Like, this is the biggest crime of them all, that Radiohead is some fucking absolute deity of a band. They could never lose in a poll to a band like Pearl Jam, who are, of course, 90s icons in their own right. How could that ever happen? Is a crime against, I didn't say against humanity, but the biggest crime of them all. And some of my musical autopsies, that's all mocking these types of fans who get real upset, or I've been using the word frothy a lot lately, but who get all upset whenever you make fun of their music, right? As if their music, if you make fun of an artist, or you make fun of a band, or in this case, they're not even making fun of a band. If Radiohead loses to Pearl Jam, that somehow that is a actual shot at you personally, because you like Radiohead. So how can this be that someone would ever choose another band instead of the one that you like? Just couldn't possibly happen, right? So these are the types of music fans that I hate, and I wanted to share that with you. Nothing against Anthony Fantano again, so by all means, feel free to send this to him, I guess, and see if he'll shit on me. I'm not trying to start YouTube drama, but I have nothing against Anthony Fantano. What he's doing, what he does is what he does. He's a music reviewer, and it's working well for him, and he's been very successful, especially over the last couple of years, and happy for his success. His fans are stupid, but that's just my opinion, and we're just going to move on now to the topic of the day. Actually, before we move on to the topic of the day, and since we're almost 20 minutes in, I did want to, of course, acknowledge the people making this happen. This is April's most generous list of them on my Patreon, and I thought about trying to read out the names as quickly as possible, because I thought, oh, maybe I should try and do that. So I'm going to try and do that. I should have maybe timed this, and I'm probably going to fuck up a whole bunch of them, but here are some of the people, or all of the people, who are in my overdose tier and I wanted to show you them in here, the overdose tier, supporting me at patreon.com/doseofbuckley. We got It's Me, Adam Giffen, Ano Boltzmann. Hope I'm saying that right. I don't even know this one. Albie Dam. Hey, maybe that's like Albie Dam. That's funny, I guess. Alex Placencia, Alexa Stock, Ali Ray, Amanda Martinez, Andy Brown, Anna White, Argue with a Tree. You could do that if you wanted to. Pretty much just as useful as arguing with people on the internet. Ash Archer, Augusto Martinez. We got Austin Carruthers, Austin John Cross, Ox Priest 223, Ben Drums. We got Batnat, Becca, Blake Voiles, Brad Knowles, Brady, Brandon Bryant, Brody May, C. Taylor, Caleb Arbach, I don't know, Cameron Santos, Carl Gills, Charlie Fish, Charlotte Cairns, Chase Sains, Chris Coakley, Chris Halslip, I don't know, Cogitated, okay, I'm sure I'm missing a reference there, I don't know how to say a word, Colin Ventrella, or Ventrea, because I got the double L's, I know what you're doing, Christian Rodriguez, Crit, Cynthia Tello, Daisuk 7, I don't know. Dallin Schrader, Daniel Fitzpatrick, Daniel Mitsrachi, Daniel, why are all these Daniels having fucking names that are completely unpronounceable? Sheepstra, Danielle Reckner, Darren Cubitt, David DuBois, David Lindsay, David Standhart, Della Rosa Gaming, I'm sure I'm giving some plug to someone there, Desert Rat, Devin Parrott's Money, Devin LaForce, Dylan Cody, Dominique Barber, Elijah, just plain old Elijah. We got a plain old Eric coming up as well. We got Elizabeth Coates, Emily Jones, Emily Paquette, Erica Foster, Erica Toffelmeyer, Eric Stellar, I don't know, sure. Evan Weatherby. This list is also small for me to read as well, so I should have made this bigger for myself. Evander Santander, Fab 50, Philo Tunafish, Flair, Franco B, Frosty Akuma, Frozen Wasteland, Gage, Gamesy, Marcara, Happier Up Here, Hollywood Cade Hayes. We got Infinite Ideas, Jacob Piskia, Jake Decker, James Eldon, James Gillard, Jared Riches, Jamie Ballman, Jail Ferguson, Jekaterina, oh my god, I fucked this one up. Jekaterina. Hey, if you want me to pronounce your name better, have an easier name to pronounce, I guess. Bait. We've got Jeffrey Catalan. We've got Jeremiah Thompson, Jesper Anderson, Jessica Fuchs, Joanna Lind, Joe Harp, Joe Shepard Hawk, Johannes Anderson, John Smith, John Wang, John Paul Miller, Jonathan Drafton, Jor-El Bell, Jordan Back. And I'm going to save the rest of this list for later because I realize now that this is all so much fucking time. This is so long, and I'm going to get to it in a little bit. We'll talk about this in another segment here. But first, let's get to today's topic, which is, you've been waiting for it. What if your significant other was a sex worker? Could you imagine? Could you imagine what if your significant other was a sex worker? So, this one came out, shout out to another one of my Patreons whose names, of course, I can't pronounce. They're called Sexes? I have no idea. It's ISXZS. Did I give him a shout out on this thing? No, of course I didn't. Why would I have done that? ISXZS. That's the name of the user who let me know about this. Because obviously I don't know a fucking goddamn thing about YouTubers, right? And I'm sure now that I've had to go at Anthony Fantano's audience, and I'm now about to talk about this iDubbbz character that people are going to accuse me of YouTube drama. But I got, again, nothing against either of these guys. But this is what he told me. He wanted to know my opinion, or she. I think it was a he, but I don't know. Whatever, right? YouTuber iDubbbz has been called a simp for supporting his girlfriend's OnlyFans account. A simp. Now, again, I thought a simp meant a simpleton, like an idiot, right? This is a wee brain, or maybe not a nice way to say someone's got a disability, perhaps, as well, right? But a simp, that was what a simp meant. Now, apparently, it means a man that puts himself in a subservient/submissive position under women in the hopes of winning them over without the female bringing anything to the table. We'll talk about maybe why I think that doesn't apply here if we're talking about that. But anyway, the question today, And I want to see you guys in the lobby who want to talk about this. 1, would you be okay if your significant other was a sex worker of some kind? And we're talking the broad term of sex worker. In this case, OnlyFans. For those of you who don't know what OnlyFans are, OnlyFans is a website that you can, I guess, I don't know if this is its intended use. So forgive me if I'm wrong on this, but it's my understood use of how it is being currently used. Is you got a lot of women, young women, maybe, I don't know how, maybe they're older women, but you've got women on there who go on to OnlyFans, they make an account, and then they sell packages of themselves, of videos or of images of themselves in various stages of undress or doing activities. You know what I mean, right? So, I mean, I don't know why I'm censoring this, but there, you give some video of some girl masturbating or some shit. I don't know, right? I wouldn't go on there and pay for that, I guess. So, but either way, this is the thing that exists. So, would you be okay if your significant other was a sex worker of some kind? And I believe that in the broad definition of it, pornography and creating amateur pornography, selling your own photographs and videos and images would certainly qualify as that. Also, what about people who are married or who date porn stars? Very famous porn stars all have significant, not all, but many have significant others. One that comes to mind, who's mentioned it in various interviews and things like that, is Asa Akira. Perhaps you're familiar with Asa Akira, very famous porn star who's crossed over into the mainstream in some manner. And she's married, right? So she's got a husband. I don't know if her husband is also in the industry, but And a question for I call you lady dosers. I don't know why, but lady dosers, would you let your guy tell you that you couldn't do this if you wanted to? So, looking for some questions looking for your answers here on Discord. So, in the general chat, let me know generally what your opinion is. You don't have to tell me the whole goddamn thing. And then we will get you on here and we'll talk about it. So I'm looking for a few people. You know what? We'll start out. Normally we start out with a dissenting opinion, but I don't know if I'm going to get that here. So I've got someone who I believe has some experience in the matter. And so Beep Boop, are you there? Looking for Beep Boop. I'm hoping that they can hear me right now. Probably not. Again, where it's got a bit of a delay, and then they can't tell that I've already brought them in. And this is classic. So we already tested the mics. By the way, last week we had some problems, or the week before, we had some problems with people who couldn't get their mics working. And this time I went into the actual chat, tested my mic, made sure it was working. And this time I'm trying to actually get some people here. We had some people whose mics were working, and I thought Beep Boop was one of them, but apparently I'm not getting anything right now with them, unfortunately. So I don't know. So instead, how about we get this person in? They got a great opinion, I guess. So we've got, of course, this is the one right here, the God of Dudes. We got the God of Dudes, who has an opinion on this. Apparently not, so...
Oh, sorry.
Hey, there you are. So...
Hey, big fan. Been watching you since you did the collab with I Hate Everything, but let me get to the point. Like, my opinion is, like... Okay, if you sell yourself, like, and you just... I don't know. I just don't think it leads to a healthy relationship. If you're selling yourself and you value yourself at fucking nothing, $300 fucking dollars a fucker, then you're like, what does that mean for your husband? Like, that means your husband, like, what the fuck?
So, my question, I guess. So, first of all, do you have yourself a significant other currently?
No,
you do not. So, now
no.
I guess the question there is,
I just have very traditional values. I just don't like. You should. I don't think selling yourself, or you're valuing yourself as literally nothing. Like you're just selling yourself online to fucking millions of people, and your husband is just okay with that. Like, what the fuck? No, no, you should be exclusive. I know they're not doing anything like fucking or anything, but you should be exclusive.
Now, if
You
they've
fucking
already,
you gave yourself to a person.
now if they've discussed it beforehand, what's your thoughts on that? So they've talked about it, and it's
Okay,
just another job.
So I wouldn't call it technically, because everybody overuses the word cuck and all that. I wouldn't call it cucking. I wouldn't call it simping like iDubbbz. He's not a simp. He's just there's just some like issues there. If you want if you really sit there down and have a talk with the woman you love, and you're saying, yeah, I'm fine with people seeing your pussy. I'm fine with people like looking at you and yeah, I get everybody makes the argument they could just go on your Facebook page and jack off to your. It's completely different. There's a difference between fucking, I don't know, vacation photos and directly showing like guys online your snap. It's just, there is a difference.
So you don't have a problem with if a girl puts pictures on her Instagram in swimsuits and things like that while they were on holiday, and then
Yeah, that's fine. If it is just like if she's with someone and she's not trying to entice another man, it's literally fucking enticing people.
All right, well, yeah, I think that now. I guess my question to you as well then is: do you partake? You don't have to answer this, although maybe you do. Do you partake in pornography?
No.
No. Is that a lie?
Yeah. That is not a lie.
It's not a lie. Okay, well, so most of them have, again, like I said, maybe not all, but most of them have husbands, wives, things like that.
See, I don't get that. Okay. So I used to like watch it, but like I don't anymore.
Oh, you might have used to watch it. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Well, there was this porn star called Janice Griffith, and she's had like a few boyfriends and stuff. And I just didn't understand. I didn't understand it then, and I don't understand it now. Why would you drag someone else into that? If it I don't know.
Now, so I guess now let's say, for example, because this is the part where I didn't understand here was then they said in the simp. Now I know you just said that you don't think he's a simp, but they mentioned without the female bringing anything to the table. Now I don't know how much money that iDubbbz's girlfriend is making on this OnlyFans account, but I would imagine the woman that you described probably made making a few bucks.
I feel like that's a bit more. I feel like that's worse. If you're making money off of it, you're selling your fucking girlfriend, right? Wouldn't that that's just
you're
the
not
conclusion to come to?
You're talking about pimping, I guess, but you're not making money.
Technically you are. She's making the money, and if you're together, you obviously share that money, unless you have trust issues. Which I wouldn't be surprised if you're dating a fucking porn star.
Well, perhaps, but I think that if they're bringing money into the relationship, they're paying, maybe their share of the mortgage or the groceries, their half of the groceries, that kind of thing. It's not really.
All right. So it's okay if your husband is a fucking mob boss, but he's paying for everything, right?
Well, being a mob boss is a criminal versus someone who is a porn star. As far as I know, there's no crime, at least in this part of the world, perhaps in the United Arab Emirates. But, in most civilized, now I just realized I'm going to get fucking shit for that. But anyway, in North American culture, we'll say it that way, that's generally not a crime. Now, prostitution in some areas is a crime, and that might be a little bit of a different story there. But I guess that's so. I guess I go the other way on that one too. What if the guy is either a male stripper or a?
Oh, I wouldn't accept it for a guy either. Like I said, I'm very traditional. I wouldn't accept it if a guy did it either. I think it's like. You're just selling your dick around, flinging it around, like, come on.
All right. Well,
Think of your fucking wife.
hey, at least we've determined that you're equal opportunist on that one, eh?
Eh. Oh, by the way, I listened to a bit of the Joe I talk, and it reminded me of something because you said the gravelly voice and the pixie voice. It reminds me of a mixture of Grimes doing a duet with Bruce Springsteen.
All right, then. Well, you know what? We're going to leave it right there. So, the God of Dudes, thank you for joining me today.
Thank you.
So, there you go. Now, in the Discord chat, we've got some people here who... I've got some people here who obviously disagree with the old God of Dudes. So, we'll talk to... first of all, we'll see if we can't get Beat Boop back. And then I've got another person that wanted to talk as well. Except Beat Boop is not in the thing. So I guess we'll start with this person. Now, this is a character that goes by the name The One Puppet, Jim Henson Nut In. So do we have you currently available to chat? That's The One Puppet, Jim Henson Nut In. Really need people to actually be paying attention when we do this so that we can actually do the show this way. But we're not getting them right now, so we'll try, while I'm at it, see if I can get someone else in here as well. Probably not. Now we're starting to... This is good radio, folks, right here. If you want to be in the chat, make sure that you are in the lobby. If you want to talk, we'll go to Kate. Let's see if Kate's available. If you want to be in the chat, make Kate, sure that you are can you mute your mic there? Or not?
Can you hear me? Hi.
I can hear you. Can you mute YouTube? Is what I wanted to say there.
Yes, I did. I muted it.
All right, cool. So,
oh yeah, hi.
Kate,
so exciting.
What's you got some opinions on this matter?
I do. So I'm also a bit tipsy, so I apologize if my vernacular is a bit slowed.
No, that just makes this whole thing better, I'm sure.
Good. So my basic opinion is that as long as that it is something that both partners are okay with, I don't think there's anything inherently wrong. A job at the end of the day is just a job if you're bringing in money. And especially in the economy that, we're in now. Like, I know a lot of people who are like artists and stuff who have just recently, because of the whole coronavirus situation, they don't really have a steady means of income at this point. So this is the way that they have been able to like put food on the table. And like at the end of the day, you have to do what you have to do to survive.
Now, certainly, I guess, pornography, one industry probably not overly affected by the current shutdowns of everything.
Oh yeah, they're like the one people that are like thriving right now.
Still everyone's at home. Social isolation. What do you do all day, right? Now,
exactly.
Yourself, you first of all, do you have a significant other in the current?
I do.
You do.
We are long distance, unfortunately, but I do have a significant other.
All right. And so, do you think that they would be okay if... First of all, I guess you would talk to them, right? This is the thing that this is the thing I don't know if I skipped over or if there's a misunderstanding on this. I'm not saying that this isn't like a Maury Povich episode, right? I'm not talking about like fucking, I found out. I couldn't believe it. I found out that my wife is the most famous porn star, and me as a Christian evangelical, I don't know what the fuck I just said there, but you know what I mean. Evangelist.
I am a man of God.
Yeah, I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe that she was doing this,
behind my back.
Right behind my back.
Anything behind your back is not good in a relationship.
Right. But you talk about it. Now, I guess this is a hypothetical, so I can ruin your relationship if you want, but let's say that happened. Do you think that your current relationship would be fine with that? Or would they not be?
I think so. I am friends with one girl who is a sex worker, and she will actually do she has like an OnlyFans type of account, and she will actually do like partner videos with her boyfriend.
Okay.
So that's that's one way you could like incorporate them into that if they feel left out or if they feel, comfortable in that situation.
I have seen that. There was a girl I went to college with who we all found out.
Mhm.
I don't know if she knows that we all knew this was going on, but either way, she had started a Tumblr account and
Uh-huh.
and then also had whatever, I don't know, whatever these sites are. It was before OnlyFans, but there were other ones
Yeah.
you could use, right? And
Yeah.
so she she had incorporated her boyfriend into the videos for some of the other action there, and then I guess her solo stuff was just her solo stuff. I assumed that perhaps maybe he was the one filming it and things like that. So it's a nice little team building exercise, we'll call it.
Exactly.
It's
It's just like a bonding exercise.
it's just like
For
a
you and your
bondaging
partner.
exercise, yeah. So I think that. But yeah, and then I don't know, obviously, all the ins and outs. Didn't ask her. Didn't think to
Yeah.
chat about it. You know what I mean? But I didn't ask her. I was like, I just all of a
Yeah.
sudden found. And then she like deleted it all. I was like
Oh,
a couple
that's
of
interesting.
couple of years later. I'm like, oh, whatever happened to that girl? I'm not gonna say her name or anything. But I'm like, oh, whatever happened to that girl? And it was all pretty much like wiped from the internet.
Mhm.
And I assume that probably she. Because and then I do have her on Facebook as well, where
Yeah.
she, of course, wasn't advertising any of this, but I did know that she had recently entered a new relationship, and so I wonder if either that guy wasn't too thrilled about it, or thought he would be cool with it, because I assume it was probably something disclosed at the start, and then found out, you know what? Oh,
Definitely.
no, I'm not into it now. Please don't do that. So.
Yeah. Exactly. Especially if like maybe the relationship ended. You don't really, it's one thing to have couple photos on the internet forever, but like couple fucking photos on the internet forever is that might be a little more painful.
Well, I appreciate your call there, Kate.
All right. You have a good night.
You too. Oh, I just cut them off as I said that. But anyway, someone else wants to talk. Let's get another guy in here, I guess. Kyle Quinn wants to talk. And so I saw there's a couple other people as well that we had tried to talk to that were interested in talking again. The one puppet that Jim Henson nut in was asking, as well as Beep Boop. I will get to you guys back in a short bit, as long as, again, you're in the lobby. You got to be in the lobby for me to talk to you. But at the moment, I've asked Kyle Quinn if they're available, but obviously not. So we're just going to keep doing this, because now I got a way to do a bunch. So we got Seriously Savach. Are you there? Apparently not. Seriously Savach. This is just fucking fantastic radio. I gotta fucking tell you. Dr. Cochter 42069. Trying to get them on, see if they can talk. But I'm guessing they're not. So, all right. Well, I guess we're going back to regular old conversations. We got the one puppet, Jim Henson nut in.
Hi.
Yeah, what's
Sorry
going
about
on?
that earlier. Yeah, apparently mobile Discord didn't want to work this time. It worked in the first episode I was on here, but then it kind of died today. So I'm glad I was able to get on my PC.
All right, so you have an opinion on this?
Yes, a very strong one, actually. Surprise, surprise. Honestly, I think it all has to do with what your significant other is okay with. I hate seeing the judgment placed on relationships that people aren't a part of. Like, for example, with iDubbbz. His girlfriend was deplorable for a lot of other reasons. If you look into that, she had done some terrible things. But,
yeah, well, I guess that's the other thing, is I should mention that I'm not supporting either of these people. I don't know enough about her, but I do know that iDubbbz has also had some problems with...
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they've both had their fair share of controversies, but, I mean, the problem, I think, is people with, they're putting judgment on relationships that they aren't a part of. If, for example, I know my boyfriend wouldn't be comfortable with me doing that, and I respect him, But I don't, you know, he doesn't go around judging other women who are in relationships who are a part of, you know, a situation where they're sharing their body. Honestly, a lot of my, I think the strongest part of my relationship clearly is very, very at a mental level. You know, like we connect as people. I don't really put a lot of personal, I guess, I don't know what word I'm looking for. I don't really find sex as connecting as it is to, you know, speak to another person and get to know them on a human level. I think sex is just more of a, you know, pleasurable thing that you do with your body, but it doesn't connect you with a person more than getting to know them. But my boyfriend feels differently, and I respect him. And, you know, so obviously I'm not going to go around showing myself off or, you know, going into sex work. But that's something that we've talked about.
All
you
right.
know?
Now, so you say you talked about it, you like legit, like you were like, hey, I'm thinking about doing this. And he was like, no, I don't want that happening.
I'm sorry, that's my sister.
Yeah.
No. I expressed interest at certain points in my life, but he never. But you know, once I got with him and I, you know, figured out what his opinions were, I decided I respect that. I mean, I'm somebody who, I'm bisexual, and you know, because I'm with a man, you know, obviously some of my itches aren't scratched, to put it one way. You know, and so, for example, like in my relationship, I'd be fine if my boyfriend wanted to have, you know, sex with another man because they apply something, like they have something biologically that I can't fill, and that's why, you know, obviously I'm okay with him watching porn and stuff like that.
Yeah, was my lighter over?
I don't know, but the point is, it's all about what is okay personally with people. I don't think the emphasis on bodies, you know, and that sex is, you know, considered such a sacred and holy thing, when, I mean, that's okay for some people, but it just seems like there's so much judgment given, especially towards women. I think there's a lot of sexism in terms of women being treated poorly because of, you know, being sex workers. And, you know, whether people deny it or not, there's a lot of opportunities that I think women are denied. And if they want to use their bodies to, you know, make money and their significant other is okay with that, then fuck it, let them do it. You know, people are paying for it. It's a service just like anything else.
All right. Well, I appreciate the call.
Yeah. Thanks for having me on.
So something touched on there as well, because that's always a thing that there's a joke in the movie Orgasmo, the Trey Parker, Matt Stone, I'm just dropping stuff on my desk, Trey Parker, Matt Stone film about a Christian lad who ends up working in porn somehow, right? It's a funny movie. But anyway, Ron Jeremy, who's a porn star and who's in the movie, he gets in a debate with someone in the movie and talking about how that men are equally exploited because they're the ones who want the product, and it's you know, driven toward them, that really in that way the women that are the actresses have all the power. But anyway, it's just always a funny thing there. Now, I guess I'll take a couple more people. I guess, I don't know, I got to get this Cause Night on apparently, so we'll see if that works out. Cause Night, are you there? Just dead silence. This is great radio again.
Oh, hi.
There you are. Hey, we got another guy on
I'm
here,
good.
so let's see if we can't get another opinion on this one. Cause Night, you wanted to talk about this.
Yeah, okay, so basically, my girlfriend, I'm in a poly relationship, so, like, my girlfriend also has a girlfriend,
All right.
and they actually make porn together.
All right. And you got no problem with this, obviously?
Well, I don't, like, think it's good that, you know, they make money off it, basically, you know, it goes up on, like, ManyVids or whatever, and, I feel quite happy with it, because, like, even though, obviously, they can see a lot of what she's doing, it's like, you know, from an online perspective, if you're watching that, it's like, you know, the chances you're going to meet her are, like, slim to none. right? Unless you happen to be very local to her. But realistically, the only people who are going to get to like touch her at all are like me and her other girlfriend. So like from that point of view, I don't think there's a problem with people making money off of porn, even if they're in a relationship.
All right. So I guess the question there, I guess I've really just answered, or you've really just answered it then. But if now, when I guess that whole thing started, did you already know, or was this something it wasn't something sprung on you, right? This is something you guys had, was she already doing this before you guys were together, or how did that go?
So I sort of joined into the relation. Like, she'd met her other girlfriend first.
You're the
I kind
third
of joined
wheel.
in after.
Okay.
Yeah, basically. And yeah, so I came in sort of knowing she had another relationship, and it was very different to what you're used to, because we live in a sort of we live in like a society that promotes monogamy over most other things. So getting used to it, obviously they're very supportive, and I knew they were doing their thing before I came in. But like, they're all just very chill about it. They're all very open-minded, and I feel like I'm very much the same way. And I was just quite happy to let them do their thing, because again, at the end of the day, it's like people that she wants to be with, even.
All right, man. Well, no, I mean, if it's working for you guys, then that's good news. All right. Well, Cause Night, I think, might be cutting out. So let's see if we can't get Beep Boop back, and see if, and then we'll see if we can take some of these other people. Hey, Beep Boop. So
Can you hear me?
yeah, I can hear you. So my chat's getting just hammered with people like this T.K who just keeps saying pick me over and over, which is really annoying, but whatever. So anyway, Beep Boop. Now we'll just cut right to it. My understanding is that you previously worked in the industry in a way.
I was a stripper for a little while.
You were a stripper for a little while, yes. So, and you were married at that time. Are you currently married?
I was engaged at the time, and now I'm currently married to the same man.
Oh, okay, yeah. And so, obviously, how did that sort of come about? Were you guys already together at the time, or did you meet him? Because I've heard about this before. Because I've been to I'm a man of the people. Been to the strip club a time or three in my life, right? And but I can't turn off the broadcaster in me, so I just chat with them. I have a fucking talk with them, right? Like
They're the people that we love to see.
Yeah,
people who just want to talk and have fun.
So I'm sitting there having a chat, right? I've talked with people. They're like, oh, I talked with a stripper who was telling me about how her and her daughter were going to be going as matching vampires for Halloween one time, and so on and so forth. And I had this one where I had another one. Sorry, I got to ban a couple people. And don't worry about it. But anyway, I had oh, there we go. Yeah, we got some
Someone
idiots.
really doesn't like Jewish people.
Yeah, we got some idiots in the chat. Anyway, so I had this one young lady who was telling me about how she was married, and she had married this guy who was a regular at the club. This Polish truck driver, she tells me. So anyway, I said, oh, that's cool. Like, how long you guys been married? She says, oh, about 6 months. And I said, oh, that's cool. How long did you know each other before that? They said, she was like, about 6 months. So I'm like, oh, so you guys you've known each other for a year, and you've been married. So you've been married for 6 months. Before that, whatever. And I guess he's like a long haul truck driver. He's pretty much barely ever there. And, now, but I guess they make it work. I have no idea. I mean, that was years ago, so I have absolutely no idea if they're still together. But anyway, so I kind of cut you off, but your story, did you know him before or while you were a stripper? How did that work?
We met working at Taco Bell quite a bit before.
Met at the Taco Bell. Were you working at the Taco Bell?
We were both managers, and
okay.
That's how we met. But this is going to sound crazy to everybody, but when I was a kid, I saw a stripper on TV. I was maybe 8, and I was like, wow, that's what I want to do someday. eventually I got
so
to
how,
do it.
Sorry, how old were you when you saw this?
It was maybe 8 to 10. I grew up in a very unconventional household, so we watched entertainment that was well beyond our ages.
I see. So, you guys were both working at Taco Bell. You decide you turned, I assume, 18-ish, right?
I was 19. We
19.
moved away so he could go to college, and I had to find a new job. And I kind of just ended up doing that because it was kind of like on my bucket list.
Right. So, okay. So, and how long did you do it for?
Ooh, I think it ended up being like maybe a week because I realized that when I did
a
it,
week.
my
Oh,
anxiety
okay.
was way too high to stick with it.
I understand. Yeah.
On the stage, I was private dances. I was fine, but on the stage, I just got way too nervous, and it it ended up being different than I expected it to be.
All right, fair enough. So, but obviously, so you weren't married to this guy at that time, were you? You said you were
No,
engaged.
We were engaged at the time,
Right.
and then we ended up getting married about a year later.
And you had a chat about it. He was like, "Yeah, that's fine. Have a go at it."
I told him, I was like, I want to try this, and he was like, go nuts, have fun. And he's not a jealous type. He was like, at clubs, like I've been to some clubs that were pretty sketchy, but this club was very strict about the no touching. No, you try to touch a girl, you're getting your ass kicked out.
Right.
There was no like funny business. You were just doing your job pretty much. And I had fun while I did it. If I could go back and do it again, maybe I would. But
Well, but I guess you say you got to do it, and obviously he had no problem with it, and that all kind of worked out for you guys. There was no animosity at the time, anything like that.
But a lot of people say like they would never allow their girlfriend to do that, but he was, he was actually very supportive.
Well, I appreciate your call, and is good to get that opinion from someone who did it for a week, but still, I can't imagine my audience is full of strippers, so I think that's probably about as good as we're gonna get right now. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I definitely understand.
Thanks for the call. All right, so I was hoping to get maybe another male member of the audience before we got finished here, so that I could see if we could see what we got here. Okay, so we'll try this one again. Kyle Quinn, are you there?
Yes, can you hear me?
I can hear you. So you said that you work in a military installation. Are you yourself a serviceman?
That is correct. I've been in the Marine Corps for about 4 years now.
All right. So what did you want to say about this?
So the question, would you be okay if your significant other was a sex worker of some kind? Well, being around the Marine Corps for quite a bit of time, not saying too long, but then again, not being, how the boots are on TikTok and all that, but there are quite a bit of young Marines and sailors that like to go out to the nearby strip clubs. Toby's and Gus's are one of the pubs.
All right.
And
I mean, you don't have to tell us where exactly you're at or anything. But anyway, yes, okay.
It's not that hard to find out.
All right.
Because there are only a few of us. But seeing how many people get married to strippers or prostitutes or anything like that, like seeing how service members are getting married to them doesn't really show that people are not as okay with it as you would think, because it's being so heavily discouraged and all that. Except like now times are getting easier and softer, so to say.
Right. So now yourself, would you be upset? First of all, I guess, do you have a wife or a girlfriend currently?
Yeah, I'm like I said in the chat, I'm 22 and I have a wife as well as a 10-month-old.
Okay, yeah. So I imagine now, if she came to you, she said, "You know what? I want to give this a go." How would you feel about that?
So what I said in the beginning, once I saw that you were on, I put for the first topic that I would have some rules and regulations that have to be established first, and also a very, very intense screening process. One of the rules would be, and this is just my belief, is that she can only have sex with other women. And we've had this discussion before where she said, "Oh, can we have a threesome?" And I'm saying, and I would respond, "What kind?" Because you can have two women and a male, or vice versa, right? And she would always say, "Well, I want to have another guy." I am opposed to it, and then she asks, "Is would I want to have a threesome with a girl?" And obviously, I would say yes, right? Like that's the general consensus with the males. I'm guessing in this audience, hopefully.
Right.
Or not? Yeah.
So you have a but do you feel that now was she upset by that potential double standard there? Not potential. I mean, it is, right? We know it is.
It is a double standard. I'm not gonna be afraid to fucking admit it. But she was. She said that I could have a threesome with her if I would agree to her terms, so to say. But then I just dropped the subject right there because I'm too stubborn to go with it. And then one of the other rules would be I would allow her to have sex with men if, and this is just me, if they were politicians or any high public figures, to blackmail and get money out of them. Why not?
That's a tactic as well then.
It definitely is. And the regulations, obviously, like, how the adult film industry, they're constantly, hopefully they're testing both parties, making sure no one has any STDs, STIs, as now they're saying it.
Yeah, it's generally, they try anyway, yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I would make sure that she's clean and she doesn't contract anything, as well as the other party that's going to be engaging with her. But hopefully, because she doesn't work, she's a full-time mother. Good on her, because it's definitely difficult. I can definitely see that. And I would want her to charge an arm and a leg, like minimum maybe $3,000, help pay the mortgage and all that, obviously.
$3,000. Now, we'll just to quickly change this, and then we're gonna probably move along. Here is your buddies in the military. Do you think less of them when they want to or are dating strippers or other sex workers?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Because, well, strippers, sex workers, whatever you want to label them, whatever job they're pursuing, they're in it to make money. They're not doing it because it's fun. Unless it is fun for them, then so be it. But with how things are going around here and how they've been going, it's one of those options. It's either how are you gonna, if you're stuck on, let's say, North Carolina or Camp Pendleton, whatever you want to choose, your choices of women or men are very, very limited because everyone's a military brat. Either they're in the service or they're just going to school here. But there's not that many options to pick. So you get pretty used to it pretty fast. But you still make fun of them, of course.
Of course. Why not, right?
Absolutely.
All right, Kyle. Well, thanks for the call.
All right. Appreciate it, brother.
Well, there you have it. I think that we've pretty much touched all the bases here. I don't think that getting any more callers on, it's pretty much probably going to be the same over and over. We are going to either have people who are like, yeah, no, this is totally fine, or oh, absolutely not. So we got a couple of those today. I think that we're good there. So before we go, I did say that I would finish my list of patrons. This was a huge mistake, but anyway, so I'm going to keep saying names. If you want to stick around and do that, then we can do that, and then we'll be ending this chat today, this edition of A Dose of Buckley Live. However, I am going to stick around in the Discord. If you're still there, going to stick around in the Discord and do a little bit of chatting with people in the voice chat, perhaps. So we'll do that in a second. But in the meantime, I do want to thank everyone for joining me today. A couple announcements as well. Of course, the Saturday/Sunday video, we've got that coming up. That is going to be about musicians who may or may not be releasing new music in our current times, or delaying it because of what's going on with the old COVID-19. And if you are a Discord, sorry, what am I talking about? If you are a Patreon subscriber, then you also have access to this week's bonus video, which was an edition of Patreon Goes Postal, where people send me questions and I answer them. About 25 minutes long this week, so you get to just sit there and listen to me yammer on for 25 minutes about things like my trip to Japan, my biggest fuck-ups on air, and things like that. So that's a whole lot of fun. But anyway, that's what's going on next week. I don't really know. I got a couple ideas, but we'll get to that when we get to that. And a few people were asking me, oh, what about Q&A, Russian roulette, which I have done on previous episodes. That really just grinds the show to a huge fucking halt. So probably not going to do Russian roulette Q&A anymore. Doesn't really work. So instead, what I'm going to end up doing is joining the general voice chat after the show and chatting with a few people there. May go into the Patreon chat as well. Patreon has their own voice channel and talk with some people there. They're the ones paying for it. They're the ones making sure that this shit can happen. So patreon.com/doseofbuckley. I'm going to finish my list because I promised I would, and then I'll never do this again because it just takes way too long. But once again, to my April's most generous supporters, about 20 minutes in, you heard me do the first 3 rows of this list. But we'll finish up with Jordan Kama, Jordan McDill. We've got Joshua Carrar. I don't know if Joshy Boy, Josiah P. We got Josu Miranda, Julian, just Julian, Justin N, Caitlin Johnson, Katie Youngblood, Keith, Kevin Casper, Kevin Mathis, King Bingus. That's a good name. Kiara _. We got Cody, Chris Simpson, Christopher Elder, Kylan Mann, Kyle Dingle, Kyle Endel, Kyle Quinn. We talked to Kyle Quinn earlier, so there you go. Leah Schaefer, Lee Swayze, Leonard Church, Liam Coles, Lily the Rat, Logan Kendrick, Lone Varg, Low Blow, Lucario Lily. I guess someone's a Pokemon fan there. Lucas Nicodemus. We got Maddie Barrett, Madeline Muntz, Manio Lopez, Marissa Bettles, Marissa Hamilton, Mary Durant, Matt Darville, Matthew Lukes, Matthew Miles, Matthew Parsons, Matthew Rose, Matthew Tinker, Maddie Bruce, Megan Muncie, Melody Mellow Lily, Maritzel, M. Howitt, sure, why not? Michael G, Michael Smith, Mike A, Mikey Lee Ray, Milkshake, Mireya Villarreal, I don't fucking know, I'm sorry, Mireya Villarreal, maybe, Miss Alexandria, Ms. Goat, Morgan Cutts, Natalie Kondrativa, Newport Lad, Nick Bonarilla, Nicholas Capel, Nick Jarek, Nick Racine, Noah Griffith, Noah Johnson, Omega Riley, Pissed, or P1st if you prefer, Panta Dragon. We've got Patrick Goldsmith, Patrick Kelly. I'm going to totally butcher this one. Peter Velikovic, perhaps? Why not? Pete Spicer, Petite Chouette, Pierre O'Connor, Pixel Perfect, Quith Sturge, sure. Raymond Love, Regina Gavagan. How about that? Regina Gavagan. Rashint, Rhinomite. We've got Reese LaCroix. There we go, LaCroix. Richard Briggs, Richard K. Cromer Jr. We've got Rafflecopter 673. Russell Fakwe, Russell Mays, Ryan Caps, Sack or Satch, I don't know, Saint, Samantha Joe, Samantha Mose, Sarah Goupil, Saul Pomfret, Schwartzford, maybe. How about that? Sean Bertoya, Sean Borrell. Again, I probably should have made these names bigger for myself as well. Sean Cairns, Shan 12J or 12J maybe. Silverbell, Spainaleaf, Stephen DePotty, Stephen L., Stephen Kobza, Stephen James Van Acker, Summer Rose Allen Bone, Sumpus LP, that I assume is Tech Blog and not T3 Blog. We got Tanner Fowler, Tara Doherty, Terry Holland, The Blueprint, Thomas A., Thomas Amenta. I don't know if that's the same person. They're donating twice or what, but Tobias Atwell, Tony Hutchins, Tony Rovetuos. I don't know, Rovetuso. How about that? Trish Fernandez, Tyler Larson, Ulysses Wrangle, Unfathomed Fears, William George, Rathicus Maximus, Dave Vaughn or Zave Vaughn, I don't know. Yonggook is Ultimate Daddy. We're almost done here. Yossi Stain, Young Dizzy the Purple God, who we had on a few weeks ago with a riveting story about how his warehouse is some sort of hotbed for cocaine use and hookers. Then we got Zach H., Zachary Waterman, Ziggy Schmidt, and finally, Zoe Walter. So that is the end of the list there. April's most generous supporters. I want to thank all of you, as well as all of my other Patreon subscribers. Of course, these are the people who are in the overdose tier. They are in that tier, and we've got people in other tiers, and I want to thank them as well, of course, that they've also been helping me keep this whole thing going. So, once again, thank you for joining us. It's a Dose of Buckley Live. We'll do this all again next week with another new topic, and I'm never going to read all these names again because I think this was, probably just as good as the Q&A Russian roulette in terms of grinding this show to a complete halt. But again, thanks for joining us. See you next week.